Hi Not Board Gamers and welcome back to Not Board Gaming. I'm your host, I'm Mark. Now in today's video I'm going to be reviewing the solo experience of this game right here. That's right, it's Fractured Sky, coming to us from IV Studios. Now, Fractured Sky is a 1 to 5 player game, and in the multiplayer game it features an element of kind of, I want to say blind bidding, but kind of putting power tokens onto your ships. Watch this. Oh, magnetic, yeah. Putting power tokens onto your ships that have a number, and that will indicate your combat strength. And it's kind of an area control game where you're, the aim of the game is to try and recover as many pieces of this starfall as possible. You see, there is a bit of a backstory here, a bit of story time for you. Settle in, get yourself a cup of cocoa, and let me tell you kind of the background to the game. A star torn to pieces fell to the sea. 10 cursed islands arose from the depths. A Newman was awakened by the clamour they caused, whose anger turned the waters pitch black. The god's beast called out to the seers and the wise men of earth, and did offer to grant them one wish. In exchange, they would bring him star fragments that fell, so he might cast them back to the heavens. But only one wish would be granted to them, to the ones who had gathered the most. They took to the sky in their vessels they soared, for riches, for love, for glory. Go forth, brave adventurer, and claim your heart's greatest wish. You see, the game takes place over 5 rounds, and whoever has the most fragments of starfall at the end of those 5 rounds wins the game. Now, this is a review copy that was kindly provided to me by IV Studios, and it comes in a number of formats as well. You have the retail version, then you have what I have here, which is the deluxe version, which is absolutely glorious, and then there's also a super deluxe version, which I think has got some metallic pieces for the starfall. But one of the key components that you'll see is in the deluxe version is you have all of these painted miniatures. So my team is green here at the moment. You can see I'm using a purple there for one of the AIs, and also an orange for one of the AIs as well. But it comes 1 to 5 players, so there's different ships that you can choose. There's no asymmetry involved, so everybody has the same abilities. And as I say, the game, over 5 rounds, the aim of the game is to try and capture as many pieces of starfall as possible. But of course, you're not the only one vying for it. There are others vying for it as well, and that's where these kind of combat strength tokens come into their own. So the combat strength tokens range from 0 right through to 10, and you get to put 3 of them out per game using your airships, which are these here. 3 of them out per round using your airships. And then, of course, there will be others vying for it. So then, at the end of the round, what you're going to do is reveal everybody's combat token, and whoever's got the most will win that particular area. There's ways that you can absolutely kind of bump up what you're doing as well. You have these towers, which you can add, and they're a permanent fixture on the board. Once you put them there, there's only so many spaces on the board, and they will add +1 combat strength to any area they're aligned to. And you also have these skimmers, which are kind of, you purchase and you put out for 1 round only, and they again add 1 strength. So there's ways to kind of boon your strength in there. Now the game takes place on this map in front of you. It's a double-sided board that comes for 1 to 3 players on one side and then 4 to 5 players on the other side. So I've got it set up on the 1 to 3 for the solo, and I'll talk about how that works in a second. Yeah, there's a number of floating platforms and areas on here, and areas where you can put ships and land masses, etc., where starfall has fallen, and you've got to try and try and combat the others and try and get as much starfall as possible at the end of those 5 rounds. There are also these markets as well. So the final little miniature to show you is the market here, and markets will generate additional resources for you. You see, on each of the kind of floating islands that are on here, there are a number of resources in there, or there are some named resources. The main resources are gold, stone, and wood. Basically, they help you buy markets, towers, and skimmers. So you need those resources, and you get them by either having a market in place and competing for one of the areas where you've got a market, or by coming 2nd or 3rd in any particular combat. You see, first place, you're going to get the starfall. 2nd place, you're going to get both of the resources listed in that particular area. Each area has 2 resources. And 3rd place, you're only going to get 1. Now, as that goes on for kind of 1 to 5 players, then in 4th place and 5th place, I don't believe there's anything that you get there. But from a solo perspective, you're going to be playing against 2 AIs. And so therefore, and it sounds a lot, but it's not. It's really, really easy to kind of operate AIs, basically. So you're going to have 3 players on the map constantly vying for the areas and chasing around these starfalls, etc. The solo was designed by Nick Shaw, by David Digby, and by David Turczi as well. And it's the kind of game which shouldn't have, it shouldn't really have a, you'd think a solo mode wouldn't work in it because of course it's area control with hidden information, but what they've managed to do is they've managed to make it work. And I must admit, I've been playing this a lot since I've got it. I must have played now 12 or 13 games of this, because that's another beautiful thing about it, is it is very, very fast to play when you're playing solo. A game, depending on your decision space, can take around about 30 to 40 minutes, absolutely maximum, and it's so easy to reset and go again. The thought of you kind of resetting a game is not daunting in any way, shape, or form. And it's fun and it's fast to play. So that's kind of the overview on the game itself. The wonderful production. It is an absolutely fantastic production quality that you've got here in the deluxe version. I say I think it's called Super Deluxe is even better, and I think the retail model moves away from having some of the plastic ships, etc., to having cardboard tokens. So your propensity on what you actually want is completely up to you. I love this kind of the plastic tokens, and the fact that they are magnetic to the ship as well, which is obviously more relevant in the multiplayer game than it is in the solo game. So without much further ado, what I'll do is I'll take you down to the table, I'll show you around. Now, I am on round 4 of a 5-round game, and the reason I'm showing you from there is because more happens at the back end of the game than it does at the front end of the game. So I'm just about to start round 4, so I'll take you down to the table, show you how it plays, and then I'll come back at the back end of the video and discuss my thoughts on Fractured Sky from IV Studios. Okay, so here I've got everything set up for a solo game of Fractured Sky. When I say set up, I say I'm actually on round 4 right now because I wanted to show you some of the stuff that kind of happens mid-game. So down here is my player board, and as you can see, you have a number of miniatures. We have the markets, which I've mentioned, you have the towers, you have the skimmers, and you also have your airships, and your round ends when you've placed 3 airships. Now there are other things that you can do on your particular turn, so you don't just get 3 turns in a round depending on how many resources you've got. Over here is how you track your resources. We have gold, we have stone, and we have wood. Now in the instruction book it gives you a number of cubes and it tells you to use 1 cube for each of those, but I just prefer to use 1 cube moving up. At the front here, you can see this is where your captured starfall goes. Now, I'm currently winning this game, which is unusual for me in Fractured Sky. I've got 4 starfall. One of the AIs, both of the other AIs have got 2. So that's kind of the main board itself. And the main thing down here are these chips, which, as I say, are magnetic. So when you choose the power that you want, so say I wanted to go with a 9, it sticks to the bottom. Obviously that's really important for the multiplayer game. For you, less important in the solo game, and certainly for the AIs, they don't have magnetic chips, unfortunately, so they use a slightly different way of doing it, which is cardboard tokens that their ships go on top. Here is the map in front of you. You can see there are a number of areas. We have Peaceful Plains, Creepy Cove, Torrential Tropics, Dreadful Desert, Careening Cliffs, Sinister Spires, Molten Moor, and Woeful Wetlands. You may be able to see these hexes here, which have a number of connections on there. And this is how many of these areas they are connected to. And throughout the game, you and the AIs are going to put your various buildings on there. So I've got a tower and a market in place. Red has got 2 towers and 1 market, and purple has got 2 towers and 1 market in place. And that interacts with kind of the with what's on the board and how you're trying to get starfall, and whether you get to activate a market action or whether you get to activate your towers to kind of help you out in your defense. Over here is the board, and you're going to put hidden starfall cards on here. So there's 2 types of cards in the solo game. In the non-solo game, there are also objective cards which go up at the top, but you don't use them in the solo game. So we're just going to use this bottom row here, and you're going to start and you're going to shuffle. Oh, I'm just going to show you these, by the way. In the deluxe version, you get these holographic cards, basically, which are fantastic. So what we'll do is we'll shuffle those, and you're going to place 4 because I'm in round 4, 4 face down cards in here. Okay, 3, 4. Essentially, these are the places where the next starfalls are going to go. Some of them may appear in the game, and any that aren't revealed in the game are going to appear for the next round, okay? And here we then have the public starfall. You're always going to shuffle these. Again, these are holographic cards, and you're going to flip the top one over, and when it says here that this is, look at that, again, holographic, a starfall is going to go in the dreadful desert. So we'll put that there. Now, pretty hard to see here, but there are 2 starfalls on here already, which were left over from the last round. I have 1 in Peaceful Plains, so there's 1 in Peaceful Plains, 1 in Molten Moor, and I've just put that there from the dreadful desert. So down here we have the turn order. Okay, this changes every game. So I'm green, and then the 2 AIs are red and purple here. Currently on round 4, and the first player to put all their 3 airships out get to choose which of the ones they want to go. So they want to go first next, second next, or third next round. And if you go third, then you get a gold resource on the back end of that. So what is the benefit of going first? Then, well, if you go first, you win any tiebreakers that happen on the map. So sometimes, and I won a particularly stressful one earlier, sometimes it pays dividends to actually go first. Just if it's a hotly contested areas, maybe has a couple of starfalls in there, and you want to kind of ensure that if you are in a tiebreaker position, you're going to win those particular areas. So that will change as we go through the round, and then that will decide what happens next. So if you look over here, I've got 2 AIs basically over here, orange and black. Now in the game it comes with cardboard tokens to use, but because there are 5 factions, I just use the orange and the purple faction from the main game as their figures. These come with 3 airships, and there are 3 difficulty modes as well. I've got a medium difficulty. A medium difficulty means that you choose 3 of each building. So you've got 3 markets, 3 towers, and 1 skimmer as well is what they use. So any of the other components are not used there. And you've also got these discs, and these are effectively the discs that they will use to determine their power. So you can see, so as you look at these discs, they've got different numbers on there: 8 and 2, 7 and 3, 6 and 4, etc. And that's important because depending on the difficulty you're playing, they're going to choose on medium and I think easy, they're going to choose the strongest number, one strongest number, and the rest will rotate down to their weakest. If you're playing on hard, they will rotate it 2 basically, so they will have 2 strong numbers and 1 against you. And for them, what you're going to do is you're going to choose 3, and the way I do it is to 1 face up, 1 face down, 1 face up, 1 face down. Okay, and that's kind of showing what they're going to be using in this particular round. So here, I know they're not going to use a 6, a 5 and a 7, but that means within there they've got an 8, a 9 and a 10 and everything that comes with that. So they're going to be quite strong. And you do that every round for them. So 3 are hidden, they're not used in the round, and 3 are put under the spaceships. We do exactly the same for, well, purple for me, but black in reality for the colour. So 1, 2, 3, there we go. And they're not going to be using their 9, their 6 and their 7. So that's okay. So we put these under the spaceships there, the airships should I say. Okay. And that's it. We are almost ready to go. So on your turn, what can you do? You can place an airship here, or you can build a fortress or a market on a hex, which are these here, or you can scout, and in the solo game it's this only, you can scout one of the hidden starfalls. You can also trade in any 2 resources for 1 other resource as well. So we're going to order here. We know that the first player is going to be purple, which is this one here. You've got a deck of cards which is going to be shuffled. Oh, there we go. And we're going to shuffle those, and their first card is going to be to place one of their airships. Now, so it says to place an airship in a region with the most starfalls and none of the AI's tokens. Well, there's none on here because it's the start of a new round. And the most starfalls we've got here, 1, 2, 3. So there's 3 equal starfalls. So then you use advantage, AI advantage, which one is connected to most of their buildings, if you like. So this here is connected to no purple buildings. This one here is connected to 1, 2, 3 purple buildings. that's connected to one, that's connected to one, that's connected to one, that's connected to one, and that's connected to one. So we can see here that the Dreadful Desert is exactly where they're going to go. Now, if it is then still a kind of split on where you can put them, there's this little compass symbol down here. Now, other than the first card, you always use the compass symbol that's on the previous card. But if it was the first card I was using, this, I'd have to use this, and then in subsequent rounds, subsequent turns, I would use that one. So we can choose any of these three airships. They're going to take their first one and put that just there. There we go. That's that. That's their turn done. We go next. Next is orange. What's orange going to do? Okay, so orange is going to scout. And this is where we will use the compass symbol. We know there's four cards in the row there, and they are going to scout. And I don't know if you can see on the compass symbol there, it's pointing to the right. So we take one of their cubes and put it in the furthest right on there. Okay, it doesn't matter where you put it in there. Once there are two cubes in there, what will happen is we'll reveal that, and a starfall will go onto the board in that location. And if they aren't revealed by the end of the round, they will end up being put onto the board for the next go. So that's the two AIs gone, and now it's my turn. So if I look here, down here, I've got one wood, I've got two stone, and I've got 3 gold. And what I think I want to do is actually, I want to put another tower out. So I'm going to trade in 2 of my gold to get another stone, and then trade in all of my stone to get another tower out. And then it's a case of looking where these connections are. That has 3 connections. We know these are up here. This would be quite a good one to get. You see, green, purple has got these quite well. This would be quite good. Oh no, they're both taken. So I can't really maximise on getting other ones unless some of the starfalls come out, and I've no idea where they are. I could peek, and I'd have to spend 2 gold to be able to peek, to be able to scout those. So let's think. I'm going to go down to Molten Moor, so I think this makes me a little bit heavier down on Molten Moor down here. So that's my go done. Nice and easy. Still haven't placed a starship. Back to the first one. Oh, I should have gone purple first. I went orange first, didn't I think? Yeah. Oh no, I didn't. I did purple first. There we go. And they're going to place their skimmer on the public starfall. We know that was down at the desert, so they'll take that out, and that goes there. So whatever strength is under there, they've already got +1, +2, +3, +4. They're really gunning for the Dreadful Desert. Over to this one. Oh, they're going to scout again. And they're going to scout again to the right. Now, the rulebook isn't explicit in this, but because they've already scouted that one once, I don't think they can scout it again, so they go the next one down, so they're here. So all it takes would be a scout from purple or myself on either of those, and we'd reveal those starfalls, and they'd go on the board. Okay, that's round 2. That's the second turn done. Right, what else can I do? I can't really put any more of these out because my resources are quite low, so it's time to start thinking about where I can maximise my stuff. So I've said down here is pretty good for me because I've got a tower down there. So do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a 7. So I've got my 7 on the bottom of there and put that there. And because I've put that there, I'm the first player on there. It doesn't work for the AIs. I get to look at one of these cards in this one here. And what this means is I know that one of those hidden starfalls is not going to be in Careening Cliffs, okay? So I can keep that to one side. I know I can stay away from here unless I want the resources, because one of these hidden starfalls is not going to be there. Now we're back over to purple. And purple is going to place another one of their starships, okay? So now, again, they're going to place it where the most starfalls are. There's one here and one there. And then you look at the advantage, and it's going to be where they have most buildings. They don't have any buildings connected to here. So I know they're going to put their up there. Nice and easy. Okay. And then here we have red is going to place a market near the most starfalls and connections. So that's one of these here. And again, we're looking at kind of where the starfalls are, and then where the number of connections are. I don't know if you can quite see it on here, but they have a number of stars down here as to how many connections there are. There's some that got 4, but both of them got buildings on there. So we know this one has 3, that's got 3, but it's taken, that's got 4, but it's taken, that's got 2. So therefore, the only way they can put that market is going to be just there. And that's got the most connections. So if they were to activate in any of these 3 here, they would then get to activate their market ability. Okay, so that's then done. Back to my turn now. And you can see it zips along at a fairly good pace. Now I've got to make a decision now. Yeah, so I've got a 7 in there. I know I've got a 7 in there. Sometimes it's best kind of going to an area where there isn't a starfall if you want to build up your resources for the next round. The next round is the final round for me. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take a 0, okay? So this is a 0 strength chip, okay? And I'm going to place it here in Woeful Woods. Why am I placing 0? That's got nothing on there whatsoever. Well, you see, if there is a tower connected to it, and I've got 2 towers here, one there and one there, connected to that, and there is an airship on there, then I will get +2. So that means I've got +2 on there. If no starfall goes on there, nobody else goes on there, and I win that, I would get 2 resources because that's the top tier reward I can get. So it pays dividends to actually use your 0 sometimes, depending on where you've got the towers. Right, back to this. They're going to build a tower now, a fortress should I say, with the most starfalls and most connections. Well, they don't have any fortresses left because they've got all their fortresses on the board. Why? Because in the solo game, the AI on the medium start with only 3 of each type of building. If they play on hard, they start with 4. So we just flip the next card, and it's their final ship. Oh my god, okay. Where there's the most starfalls and none of their tokens. There's only one place left. They're going down to the Molten Moor, just down there. They finish first, okay. So the order of priority for the AI when they finish is first place, third place, and then obviously second place is last. So they're going to go first place. Again, they're looking to go first place next round. Okay, so that's it. That's purple done for this round. They've done everything they can do. Red or orange still has all of theirs out. Now they're going to place their skimmer now where the public starfall was, and that was down in the Dreadful Desert. So they will place that there. So we know that when they will place one of their ships there, they've got 1, 2, 3 additional power going into there, as has the purple. This means for me, do I really want to fight this area? I've got 1 additional power going in there, and for me, I've already used my 7 down here, so I'm hoping that whatever they've got, and what did I say were their 10s? The purple has got their 10s under there somewhere, as has red. Then maybe this is a better place for me. Okay, so now down to my last one. So I've got a 7 and I've got a 0. So that means I've got 3 I can put somewhere, and this has only got 1 power of those. So do you know what? I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to try up here and see if we can get anything up there. So I put my 3 up where the purple's going to go. So that's mine done. Where do I want to go? See, getting starfalls at this late stage is really kind of useful. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go second. Okay. So that is, I know I've given up a gold resource. That's kind of where I feel like I need to be next. Okay. So there's only red in the game. Still haven't placed one yet. Here we go. They're placing their airship in a region with the most starfalls and none of the AI's and none of their tokens. So we're looking at advantage, and we know they've got 1 connection into there, but they've got 2 connections into here, 1 tower and 2 tower. So we're going to place them just there. Okay, they've still got 2 of their airships to place, and still got 4 cards left. So let's see what's next. Oh, it's another airship card. So again, what we're looking at here is we're looking for them to place it where there's a starfall and most of their connections. Right, so we have that starfall up there, which has got 1 building going to it, and this one down here, which has got 2 buildings going to it. Okay, so they're going to use that, they're going to put their ship down here. However, say they had even numbers, they had 1 there and 1 there. What you would do is you would refer to the compass on the previous card, and this is pointing to the left and up. So they would go up to that one up there. However, they don't, so they're going to place their second ship down here. So you can see we're all vying for areas. Now I'll almost guarantee now that their final ship is going to be placed there. It has to be placed there because we haven't scouted enough cards. With there only being red left, and red's the only one that scouted there, I didn't scout and purple didn't scout. Had purple scouted, and let's put a cube on there. So had purple scouted this one, what you would have done is you would have revealed that, and that would have said, okay, that starfall is going to go at Molten Moor, but they didn't. What that means is at the end of this round, all of those starfalls are going to go onto the board for the next game along with the public starfall. So let's see what this next card is. It's a scout. It's to the far left they're going to go, okay, which doesn't really matter now because nobody else can scout on these. And let's go for the next card. And it is their final spaceship, their final airship they're going to place, which we know has got to go up there now. So there we go. it becomes more kind of the compass and using the advantage becomes more prevalent when there's more starfalls on the board than 3, of course. And let's see what the final 2 cards were. We had another one's place spaceship and airship, and another one of build a fortress there. So they didn't get those. Right, so that's the end of the round done now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the board and I'll show you what happens for scoring. Okay, so for scoring, what we're going to do is we're going to remove all of the spaceships, the airship, should I say. There we go. I'll take mine back to my map. Take mine back to my map here. That there, that there. You don't remove the skimmers. They're very, very important in this round. There we go. And put that there. Okay. And then we're going to turn over. Obviously my tokens, I've got a 0, a 3 and a 7, are all prevalent. Now, maximum of 10 in my power doesn't apply to the AI, but there's a maximum of 10 I put out there in my power. You can put more than 10 in there, but if you do, anything you go over 10, so if I'm up to 12, say, you take that 2 off every token that you put on there. So, you know, it's a risky maneuver to do that. Then we're going to turn all their tokens over, okay? Both of their 10s are on there, brilliant. Okay, so we've got their 6 tokens over. Now, as I mentioned, what happens with the AI on the medium and the easy difficulty is they only have 1 strong number. Both of their 10s are here, so we're going to turn those up, which means all these other tokens are going to be turned so their lowest number, for example here, you can see this is an 8 and a 2, are going to be facing up. So we know they've got low power up there. Same down here, a 6 and a 1. And then you go across these in order left to right to kind of resolve where they are. So if you go at the top here, purple's got 2, they've got 1 in there. Okay, so purple's got 2 and they've got 1 tower going into there. So that gives them a power of 3. Red's got 2 going up there. Yep, red's got 2 going up there, plus 1 tower. That gives them a power of 3. I put a 3 up there, but I've got no towers, so we're all on 3, so who wins? Well, it goes in this order, and unfortunately purple has won in this instance. Had I managed to finish my round first, I probably would have gone first to resolve the tie break, but purple wins there. That's really fortunate that's worked out that way. So they're going to take that starfall. However, all is not lost. I came second, therefore I get a gold and a wood. And a wood. There we go. So that's that done. Let's put these tokens back so as not to confuse. Then we move here, and I'm not in this area, but we have these 2 in this area here, which are the skimmers. They both got a skimmer, so that's 11. Red has got 1, 2 towers going into there. Purple's got 1, 2, 3 towers going into there, so that's 10, 11, 12, 13 for red, and 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 for purple. That means that purple gets that starfall. Okay, but if we also look around here as well, I wasn't in that, but red has a, do they have a market? Yes, they have a market in there. And what that's going to do is it's going to move up their market card. So in the solo game, you get these market cards, and red was on 1. Okay, every time one of their markets gets activated because they got a presence in an area where one of the markets connected to, you move that up 1. Once it gets to 5 on a hard game or 6 on a medium game, you reset it and they get a starfall. So red is on 2 there. Okay, so that's how that works. Okay, unfortunately I did not win there because I wasn't in there. Okay, perfect. Then we go here, we go down to Woeful Woods down here. Now as I say, I put a 0 chip down there, which is fine because that gives me that tower that I've got there, the green tower, gives me 1 in there, which means I take the highest reward that I can. There's no starfall there, but I get 2 woods. There we go. So suddenly I'm kind of gold and wood rich, which is a bit of a shame because into round 5 I'd actually want to have more stone, but I can sacrifice some of those to get some stone. So that's that done there, and then we come right round here and we go to the final one where we all are. Okay. So let's start with purple. Purple has got 5 and there is no purple buildings connected to this. Okay. Red has got 1 and they have 1 tower, so that gives them a strength of 2. I've got 7, I really went for that obviously, and I've got a tower, so that gives me 8. So I take that starfall, that goes into the front of my tray there, I've got a market attached to there, so I get to choose. I get to take a stone because there's one stone on there, so my market does that. Red has a market on there, so they move again one up on their market card. That's the scoring done for the end of the round. And again, you can see placement of these towers and these markets and the kind of chips that you put down is really, really vitally important. It can absolutely change the flow of the game. So we're almost at the end of the round now, except we have these unresolved hidden starfalls, which unusually, which normally doesn't happen, unusually none of them were revealed. Normally you would get at least one or two of them revealed. So we're going to reveal each of these, which means it's a very starfall rich area next time, and we're going to play starfalls for the next round at the beginning of all of these. We have Molten Moor, Peaceful Plains, Sinister Spires and Torrential Tropics. So Molten Moor, Peaceful Plains, Sinister Spires and Torrential Tropics. So there's 4 on the board, and when we start the next round, what's going to happen is we know that there's going to be another one of these that gets shuffled and put on the board as well. And that's it. That's round 4 done. At the moment, as it stands, I've got 5, purple's got 4, and red has got 2. This is the first time it's happened to me. Normally, I lost on the very last one on my last game. There was a it was a market that activated the market card, which pushed them into the next starfall, which gave them the additional starfall. I was drawing, and I would have won because I was in first place here, and I lost, and that's how close it can get. Right, so that's a complete round of Fractured Sky solo. Hope that showed you how the game plays. So there we go. That's round 4 of Fractured Sky solo. Just giving you an indication on how the game plays. I'm not saying I played optimally, or I probably played sub-optimally, and certainly some of the cards didn't come out that I'd like to have done. I'd like to have shown you how you scout on the hidden starfalls to reveal more starfalls. But we're starting the next round with 4 on there. There will be another one, which will be 5, and more could come out because you're going to have 5 hidden starfall cards, which could be scouted depending on whether I scout them or whether the AI scout them. So it could be a board absolutely replete and resplendent in starfall. So my thoughts on the game. So I received this game less than a week ago, and I say this is kind of game 13 for me now. I'm playing this game so much. I'm having a real blast with the solo. It's a kind of game that shouldn't potentially work solo because, as I say, it's hidden information, it's area control, all of those things which are hard to kind of get into a solo mode. But what David, Nick and David have managed to do is create a really nice kind of optimization puzzle where you are forward planning as much as you can to try and think, right, okay, I'm going to have to sacrifice a starfall on this particular round, or a starfall here on this particular round because I need those resources because I want to build X, Y and Z later. So it becomes this kind of game of not push your luck, a little bit of push your luck if you like, but planning and strategizing and getting to understand those AI cards and how the AI could potentially work. Having the 2 values on the AI's chips is really good because obviously you don't know where that 10 is going to go if the 10 is on the board, but you also know with taking 3 out at the beginning that that 10 may not be on the board as well. So you get an indication, a feel for how they're going to play. Having the ability to ramp up the AI as well, and easy, medium and hard is also really, really good. I've had some really tight games and I've had some games where I've been absolutely trounced. It's certainly a game from a solo perspective where you get better the more you play it because you start to understand how the AI is going to work. You start to understand the positioning on the board a little bit more, and the optimization becomes a really, really kind of key component of it. So it's a game I've played 12, 13 times in less than a week. It's got a solo mode by Turczi, Digby and Shaw. So, obviously I'm going to recommend this wholeheartedly. Well, just wait. Let's talk about a few other things. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the production quality. It is absolutely first rate. Certainly in the deluxe edition that I've got here, absolutely beautiful. I adore it. My wife came in and she said, I want to play this game. I was like, great. Any game that gets my, from a table presence that gets my wife kind of interested in playing board games with me is fantastic. You get these holographic cards as well, which are completely unnecessary because you get all of the cards in the box anyway. but they're a great addition, and I probably would not play without them. The pre-painted miniatures, the magnetic chips that you get in the deluxe edition, absolutely fantastic. Could it all be done without any of that? Yes, of course it could. You could play with cardboard tokens, etc., and have the retail version, which is obviously going to be a reduced cost, and that's not a problem at all. You're still going to get the gameplay. It's a 1 to 5 player game, and this is a game that will absolutely shine playing it with other people. I cannot wait to play it with my wife and my friends, etc., because I know it's a game that's relatively straightforward to teach and relatively easy to learn, but will have a lot of laughs, because the real part of the game, the actual meat and potatoes of the game, is this hidden information on these chips. Okay, it's what you're playing and understanding and thinking what your players might, what the other players might play, and also on the chips themselves. And this only applies really in the multiplayer game. The 10 and the 1 are both white, so you could use them for bluffing as well. You could put a 1 out on something like that. You put a 10 out in a particularly strong area, so you can use them for bluffing. That's lost, obviously, in the solo game, because in the solo game you know what you're putting out there. The AI has no idea what you're putting out there, and they're working off these whatever these values are on here. So yeah, it is a beautifully produced game with a simple rule set that is easy to teach, that really gets you thinking, and from a solo perspective has a really nice optimization puzzle feel to it. As I mentioned, the sacrificing that you have to do, the kind of mid-game strategies that you have to take, the bit of kind of chancing your arm, thinking, right, well, I've got a feeling, more starfalls are going to come out, so I'm not going to win that because they could have a 10 there. And I was right, not going for Dreadful Desert, because both their 10s were there. That would have just been a waste of an airship for me. So you can think about that, or you can scout the cards and have a look at them. And so yeah, it's got, it managed to incorporate a lot of the main game into it. Now, obviously, it doesn't incorporate the objective cards. That is in a 2-player game, and with a 2-player game, you will play against 1 II. And of course, the objective cards are in 2 to 5 players. But in solo perspective, they're not there, which is a bit of a shame, because you've got something there in the box that you obviously you can't use. And it would have potentially been nice to have some solo objectives somewhere as well that would just allow you to do something. And who knows, maybe that's to come. The solo AI is very easy to run. It is cards that you're flipping over, and you get to know these cards, and you get to understand potentially, what's left and what's going to come out there, etc. But things is, with a deck of cards, of course, it's a relatively dumb AI in terms of it's no idea what you're doing. It's going to do its own thing, so it's getting in your way more often than not, and it's quite aggressive. It doesn't have the 10-point limit that you have with your chips, so it can be quite aggressive as well. But you're strategizing against a random deck of cards, and strategizing against any kind of randomness is always difficult. So it's how the rest of it all kind of interconnects. One of the other kind of things about it as well is the rulebook. Rulebook has gone for brevity. It's got lots of illustrations in there, and lots of not so much text, lots of pictures, lots of illustrations. Gone for brevity. I just wish some of it would have been expanded upon a little bit. Some of it just feels a little bit ambiguous, and it took me a good game and a half to really think, oh no, that's not what that is, that's what that is. So a decent glossary in there would have really helped. It's not a bad rule book by any stretch of the imagination. It's a really straightforward game to play, but I just wanted a little bit more clarity in the rule book. So, a game I played loads and loads of times, the solo mode by some of my favourite solo designers, beautiful production quality, a game that is so fast and so easy to play. So I go back to this, I must be recommending it for solo, and with absolute caveats, I am recommending this for solo. And the reason being is, as I've already mentioned, this is a up to 5-player game. The game is going to absolutely shine in multiplayer. I mean, it's really going to be a lot of fun in multiplayer. And therefore, if you're playing solo, you've got kind of 4/5 of the box that you're not going to use. It's got a screen in the multiplayer game that you put around here, which shields your chips, so the other people don't know what chips you're using. So it shields the chips, and you've got that real kind of, psyching out element going on in a multiplayer game that you haven't got in the solo game. So it is a fantastic stab at integrating solo into a very much a multiplayer game, and it works fantastically well, and I'm having so much fun with it, that if the game wasn't produced as much as it was and didn't cost as much as it was, I'd have absolutely no qualms in recommending it purely for solo. So can I recommend it purely for solo? Not really, no. I think it's fantastic. The solo is great. I'm having so much fun with it. But given the price, given the fact you're missing out on so much of the, using so many of the components, and the fact that the core mechanisms are meant for interaction, there's huge amounts of player interaction in the multiplayer game, that if you're just getting it for solo, then it's really with kind of, just tap the brakes a little bit. Are you going to get the ability to play it with other people? If you are, then yeah, by all means, yeah, absolutely 100% recommend it. You get the best of both worlds. You get a cracking solo mode in a cracking game, and you get to play a cracking game with other people. But are you going to play it buy it just to play solo? Oh no, it's so difficult because there's so much more here than you get in the solo. I mean, and this is an odd one. It's a game that I've already played more than games that cost a lot more than this, and I will continue to play this game. So you'd think I would just say, yeah, absolutely, run for it, go for solo, go for it for purely solo. But as I say, if they did a cut down version with just solo, so you got a player board, that board, those cards, and 2 AIs with tokens, and all it could be cardboard, and it was a rock bottom $30 price, I'd say, yeah, absolutely fantastic. Go and get the solo version of Fractured Sky. But as it stands as a whole package, and unless you're going to play it with other people, it's pretty hard to say go out and get this. And I think that is as much as I want to recommend it, as much fun as I'm having with it, as I just know the game is going to shine so much better with other people. It's not a tacked-on solo mode. I don't want you to think it's a tacked-on solo mode. It's a really well thought out and implemented solo mode. But just because that's there, it doesn't mean that spending $100 odd on a game or £100 odd on a game is worthwhile just for solo. Highly recommended, but with caveats. But by all means, go and check out some other reviews. So there we go. That's my review of Fractured Sky from Ivy Studios. I love it. And I wish I could say to you, go out and get this, because you're going to have just a cracking optimization puzzle that plays quickly and sets up quickly and resets quickly and looks fantastic on the floor or on the table. But I just can't, because it's very expensive and you're missing out on a lot by just playing solo. So yeah, highly recommended with a lot of caveats. So, thank you very much for joining me on this journey through Fractured Sky. My name's Mark. This is Not Board Gaming. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out our other videos. One final thought: if you can't find anyone else to play with, then there's nothing wrong with playing with yourselves. Until next time, bye-bye.